mind just introducing yourself?
Yeah, Michael Ratner. I'm President Emeritus of the Center for Constitutional Rights. In this context, if you're going to ask me about Julian Assange, the Center and myself are the lawyers for Julian Assange, as well as doing work on the Bradley Manning case because of some issues that have arisen in the Manning case that are related to Julian Assange.
What's the latest with those cases, and where do you see them personally going?
Well, the Bradley Manning case continues to be an incredible outrage. It's now almost 3 years since Bradley Manning was arrested. He did almost a year in an underground cell in essentially a torture chamber. His trial is moving very slowly. We're still in the pre-trial phase. We go down to Fort Meade 2 or 3 days a month. It's very slow moving. The access for press and people is very, very difficult. And in fact, it's so difficult that I'm sitting in the courtroom and I can't understand the proceedings, because even papers that are public papers, the motions, the court orders, the briefs, are not filed and are not given to anybody to see, the press or anybody else. So the Center, along with WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, The Nation, Kevin Katsola, Glenn Greenwald, have filed a lawsuit in the Bradley Manning case against the judge to say we have a right to get the records in the case. But think about it. Here's a person who allegedly leaked secret documents. And how are they trying him? They're trying him essentially in a secret trial where we have to go into court to try and get the documents. We've been through the lowest court, the middle court, and now we're in the highest military court to try and even find out what's going on in the Manning case. The next period in the Manning case is going to be very significant, because starting in late November, there's going to be the hearing on how the pretrial detention affected Manning, how it affected whether he should have to stand trial at all, and how it might affect the sentence if he's found guilty. And that's going to be very important. What we're really talking about is the torture that took place in the 9 months when he was held in solitary, stripped, etc. A treatment that the UN rapporteur, Juan Mendez, a UN rapporteur on torture, called cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment akin to torture. So that's what we're talking about at the end of November. That's going to be very important, because it shows what this government was willing to do to somebody who they think violated their laws. And in some sense, even Bradley Manning's lawyer said, what they're trying to do here is force Bradley Manning to testify against Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. So far, I don't know if Bradley Manning knows anything about WikiLeaks or Julian Assange, but at least that's what Bradley Manning's lawyer has said. And it's terrible. This young man was 22 years old. He did what his conscience told him to do, and he's a whistleblower in the tradition of Daniel Ellsberg. And instead of being treated as a national hero, which is what he should be treated as, he's being persecuted by our own government.
What do you think is going to come out of this court case? I mean, already there's large precedents set, but what do you think moving ahead will occur to Bradley Manning?
Well, you know, you worry when anybody sits before a military tribunal. These guys are not exactly known for acquittals. On the other hand, they have to prove a case, and their lawyer is giving them a very tough time on proving a case. And our hopes are that he won't be found guilty, that they'll understand that the jury, which is not really a jury, but it's made up of officers in the military or enlisted people in the military, will understand that he was acting on his conscience, that when, assuming some of the logs that we read are accurate, that what he saw in Iraq outraged him, and that he acted on his conscience. And in my view, acting on your conscience, exposing war crimes, that's something you get a medal for, not a jail sentence.
Just like Daniel Ellsberg.
Well, Daniel Ellsberg, they did try him for espionage. Let's start from there. Nixon went after him. There was a trial in California of Daniel Ellsberg for espionage. It began to flounder, first because they broke into a psychiatrist's office, but then the worst thing happened is they offered the judge who was sitting in Ellsberg's case, they offered him to be the head of the FBI. When that came out, case is over. Yeah. But don't kid yourself. Ellsberg was a hero because Ellsberg very possibly could have gone to jail for life. And I was sitting over here in 1971 when the Pentagon Papers case was argued in this court. And he had a chance of going to jail for life. And of course, so does Bradley Manning.
When you were head of the NSA, NSA officials were caught listening to people's private sex phone conversations for kicks. How do you respond to such gross violations of privacy? Romney said he would not only extend the Patriot Act, but expand it, and also surveil and spy on American citizens more, without a warrant Romney has actually called for this. How do you feel about that?
I don't feel good about it.